Thank you for tuning into Faces of Hope, a series brought to you by the St. Mary Ann Cope Shrine and Museum. Kate Mahoney leads us in candid conversations of hope and healing and inspiration from people who share the values of Mary Ann in their day-to-day lives and work. Today's episode, Maintaining Connection Through Isolation. Linda Palmisano is a sister in Mary Ann's community, the Sisters of St. Francis of the Newman Communities. As a spiritual care provider for a healthcare organization, Linda is challenged to provide connection during this time of isolation. She is inspired by Mary Ann to trust and to take a leap of faith into the unknown.
Well, hi, lady.
Hello, Kate. How are you?
I am so well. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Thanks for hanging out. It's been forever since we have been in the same room together, and I know we're on the Zoom room now, but It's so nice to be with you.
It's nice to be with you too, and this is such a wonderful thing for me to do.
Oh, I'm so glad
you asked me.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm thrilled you said yes. And I would like to kind of dive right in and say, how have you been keeping and what has been occupying your head and your heart during this pandemic time?
Well, the beginning of 2020 was fine. I was working. I worked 4 days a week, which is working out well for me. And then came March. And I had some surgery, so I was out of work anyways for a little while. And work has changed very much. I work for PACE, and I attempt to do spiritual care. And I had pre-COVID programs. We did the rosary, we did meditation, we had some movies. Every day I was there, I did something pretty much. We had mass once a month. But then COVID came and our census decreased significantly. So I would, I still had paperwork to do, which was fine, but that's not really my passion. So I've done a few like prayer prayer packets for people who came to my programs. And I've sent a few out. I just sent one out a couple of weeks ago about Christmas and Advent and that kind of thing. And I did one for Thanksgiving and one when COVID was still among us. Well, it is still among us, but, just some prayers to say that we might have incorporated into our own spiritual groups, but obviously couldn't do it face to face. I also, with the permission of my supervisor, I would go and visit people who were dying or bring them communion if it was safe. And so I've been doing that also. So my hours, of course, have decreased because of COVID, but at least I felt like I was connecting. And that's the important thing, is the connection. And there's people that I call pretty weekly or bi-weekly just to stay tuned to them.
That's good. That connection is so important. And I know you've spent a lot of your life being aware of how that keeps you going and keeps you feeling your best self too. Which I think a lot of people are. I mean, people feel so destabilized. I don't mean to make a broad generalization, but there is a sense of normalcy that is different for absolutely everyone, simply because we are all experiencing a global circumstance.
When you say global, you think of your own little world sometimes, in the area where you live and work and minister and connect with people. But this is all over. You listen to the news and you listen to countries in Europe that are really shutting down
Yeah.
because of this disease.
Yeah.
And it kind of broadens your perspective that even though your life may be in turmoil, we live in America, and that's a blessing. And we do the best we can with what we got every single day, I hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
I try. Some days I do better than others, but
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, allowing room for both, that you can have a bad day and a good day and some that's just a mixed bag,
right.
for sure. Yeah.
Now it's difficult, at this time because, people I connect with, some of them are able to use their phone independently,
Hmm.
and some can't.
Yeah.
So that makes it kind of restricted in that sense that, you ring and ring and ring, and you think, well, maybe they're here, maybe they're there. And
Right.
then you try later and they pick it right up. So, they were, um, in another room or something, and it takes older people a while to get to the phone. And I
Mhm.
don't want anybody rushing.
Right.
That's when people fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of the times people fall. Yeah. So
Sure.
it's been different. It's been challenging. I tried to connect with staff also, that may need a little boost here and there,
Mhm.
um, because they're feeling it too.
Yeah.
Everything's changed.
And is the PACE program, is it all outpatient or
Yeah.
day, like a day program?
Well, we do have some participants that reside in nursing homes,
Okay.
but for the most part, they're at home
Hmm.
or like live in a residential facility and come into the program.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plus or minus maybe 600 people
Okay.
altogether.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on the month and
Sure.
goes on.
Yeah.
But,
Um,
it's like an insurance program, really.
hmm.
One stop shopping, I call it. Yeah, it's like a mall.
Well, yeah, I know there's a lot of different activities and options, and so you can use different parts of your mind and I'm assuming a lot of the patients are they patients or clients? What's the
We call
terminology?
them participants.
Participants. Okay. So the participants, depending on the need, can really kind of express through art or through music or
Mm-hmm.
through, which you and I both, I think, would categorize as spiritual to an
Of course.
extent.
Yeah.
But then there are people who need the traditional prayer, the traditional service, or communion, like you said. So,
And the therapeutic recreation department sends out a calendar every month, and with many of them, they send out projects for them to do also.
oh, that's
You know,
great.
a lot of them
Okay.
like to do the adult coloring. It's very
I'm
popular.
a big fan. Do you like to do that?
I, I, I bought a book.
Okay.
That was but I never got to it
That's
yet.
as far as it got.
Yeah,
Okay.
someday, if I can find the book, I may start it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. We did a fair amount of we were fortunate to be able to do a little bit of a panic buy at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
We bought, we thought my mom had an idea that we might turn our dining room table into a table tennis
Oh,
situation, but
yeah.
neither one of us are really great at that. So when we tried, it was like, we're going to end up breaking something or injuring ourselves. And
Yes.
so again, kind of those initial purchases are now in a little corner on a shelf, and maybe we'll pull at them again. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
you never
yeah,
know. Yeah.
finding ways to tap in and satisfy and nourish ourselves in
Right.
ways that we weren't we can't in a way that we did before all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are there things that you find yourself relying on, or like, are you returning to childhood memories at all, or different experiences? Is anything like that coming up for you with all this time to be quiet?
Um, I not really, Kate.
Okay.
I still stay connected to very closely to two of my cousins,
Hmm.
but I I can't say that anything's really creeped up, here and there. Um, it's funny because I go to Blessed Sacrament Church in Eastwood, and that's where I went to grammar school.
Oh, okay.
Every time I go to church there, I kind of think about, yeah, the school's still here and the church is still here. And remember when in the backyard there's a Blessed Mother statue, where we used to do the May crowning, kind of nostalgic kind of things
Yeah.
here and there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But really specific that I can, relate to. That's where I met one of my best friends. Well, we're still best friends, and in kindergarten.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. As a matter of fact, my father gave her away at her wedding. Her father had passed
Oh,
away,
that's so cool.
and we still stay close. She just
Yeah.
became a grandmother, so
Now,
yeah.
were you in the wedding as well, or how?
No, she wanted me to be her maid of honor, but I was in just or finishing the novitiate, or I can't quite remember,
Okay.
but I couldn't do it at that point.
So
we're in full regalia.
Yeah. So was that a rule then that you couldn't have participated?
I think I just said to her, Judy, I don't think I would be able to do that, but
Okay.
it's a privilege that you asked me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandmother, Spino, my mom's mom, that her best friend was Methodist, and she was not, whatever the confines of religious, whatever not confines, but the parameters of religion at that time dictated that my grandmother couldn't be in the wedding. And I know that was something, I mean, it didn't affect their friendship because it was kind of universally accepted that these are the rules and stuff. And so, but I've always thought, oh, there are all these different milestones generationally that are so different now as different communities have evolved or changed or shifted to meet the need. So, so what age were you at that point then? When did you enter?
I entered in 1966.
Okay.
November of 66. And I was 18. I entered right out of high school.
Yeah.
And at first, my parents were a little reluctant because they wanted me to experience life a little more.
Okay.
But because I went to convent school and here in Syracuse, and they felt, I think, that I didn't broaden horizons enough in those days. I mean,
yeah.
My mother had entered or was going to enter the Daughters of Charity, which was very interesting. She went down to Emmitsburg, and when she found out they were more interested in education, she came back home.
Oh, okay.
And I always felt that part of my vocation was from her.
Oh my goodness, isn't that dear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always felt that way. Even though I didn't choose to become a Daughter of Charity, I just loved the friendliness and the joyfulness of the Franciscans in high school. And that's where I met them, was in high school. Yeah.
Did your friend who you met in grammar school, did she go to convent as well?
No, her father worked for General Electric, and he got transferred to Philadelphia.
Oh my gosh.
When we were in 5th grade, I was devastated. I remember that so clear. Just devastated because our backyards were like kind of catty corner from each other. And it was before the fence went up.
Okay.
We could just go back and forth, and that was very, very difficult time.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing. I know we moved to Ireland the summer between 6th and 7th grade. And I was absolutely thought my life would end immediately, right? And there could be no other world, let alone a future for me without all of the familiarity of my friends from 5th and 6th grade and all that. Yeah.
We were vulnerable ages too.
Yeah.
Where things are changing and not too sure who we are.
Yeah.
Belong, that kind of thing.
I still have those days.
I do too, but Hopefully
Yeah.
they decreased a little bit.
Right. So you went to convent school. My mom went to convent school, and I think she would have been a few years behind you, but that was really her introduction to Mother Mary Ann.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the same experience for you? Like, when did you first hear
No,
about her?
no, I can't remember when I first heard about her, but I kind of knew about her in high school, but
Yeah.
not really cemented. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Um, she was a sister I know who went to Hawaii
Hmm.
and she took care of leopards, and it was about my knowledge of her.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't until entrance that her name kind of came up more and more. And I'm thinking, gee, there must be something special about this lady, you know?
Yeah.
And then when I found out that, she was the mother general, which is probably risky business anyways, on a good day,
Uh-huh.
that they had sent to religious communities. I can't remember, was 50 or 60 of them, to see who might be willing to take this leap and go to this foreign island in those
Yeah.
days. Um, and we're the only ones that responded. That blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Hmm.
Let alone, she was very little when she came from Germany. I think she was maybe one-ish.
Yeah.
And she probably didn't remember that as much, but certainly entering the convent was certainly a leap. From experience, I know that was a leap. And, uh, and then to embark to this place where she didn't know. And not only that, but after Honolulu, to go to this island, this remote island of Molokai,
Yeah.
and do something that, she wasn't too sure what she was going to encounter,
Yeah.
and that's where I think the fortitude came in. She really had fortitude to do that and put her trust in God. And I know one of her sayings was, if I could just have a little portion of heaven, and I'm thinking, yeah, yeah, this is part of it.
Yeah.
And I think she just came across obstacles, I'm sure, that were tremendous to get through.
Hmm.
I'm looking right now at a picture of her um, out in the yard. I'm assuming it's Hawaii. It certainly
Hmm.
looks like Hawaii. But, I'm wondering what she's looking at.
Yeah.
Looking at the children playing? Is she looking at the laundry? There's always laundry, right?
Right. Right.
And it's just really amazing to me
Yeah.
that this one woman had this fortitude and this courage to um, embark on a totally unknown.
Yeah.
Talk about trust.
Is she someone you have leaned on through your journey and career in a more unique or specific way than all of the sisters who came before you and were instructors or models or friends in some way?
I think that the um, going to convent school and then going into entering the novitiate and learning about her slowly, really.
Yeah.
Then I moved in with Sister Rosie and Rena, who was very much involved with St. Mary Ann,
Hmm.
and she's the one who really instilled in me. This was in 2003.
That's when you became roommates?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, 2003.
Hmm.
Um, she really instilled in me those values of St. Mary Ann. And I remember her asking me if I would be willing. This was when St. Mary Ann's remains were at our mother house.
Hmm.
and we had visitation. I call it visitation, um, on Saturday afternoons. And she asked me if I would be willing to be one of the speakers or explain things. And first I thought, I don't know, I guess I need a written uh, thing to say or something. But it was just a wonderful experience to see all these different people
Yeah.
come and pray to this lady for various intercessions. Didn't know them,
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what faith they practiced, but something brought them there, and I think of that often. And I did that for quite a while.
Yeah.
Not every Saturday, but we rotated.
Right.
And that's what really got me into it,
Mm-hmm.
into St. Marianne was that experience. Um, just seeing a group of people. It's like the Stations of the Cross
Mm-hmm.
on Good Friday. People come from everywhere. You don't know what their background is or
Yeah.
what faith tradition they practice or what their greatest need might be that they may be there praying for.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with Saint Marianne and coming to the shrine, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same type of thing. We don't
Yeah.
know what brings people together. Now we kind of hesitate to bring people together,
Right.
but
Right. Right.
in a normal fashion,
Yeah.
what brings these people together?
Yeah.
You know?
You mentioned the little piece of heaven earlier,
Yeah.
and that is how I viewed your home with Sister Roseanne. I mean, how many times we would come in and have either like a cocktail or a coffee or a little treat, and animals, always
Mhm.
always some four-legged friends to
Yes.
share our time and space. And
Very Franciscan.
absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I remember you talk about Roseanne sort of really giving you a greater view of Mother Marianne and her impact and her unconditional love of every person, regardless of where they were on their journey, or however you would want to phrase that. And I think of one of the times, I think it might have been my first more professional opportunity to share parts of my story and my relationship with Mother Marianne. And I was still like you. I really didn't know what my purpose was going to be. And I wasn't really sure how I was going to take my life experience and convey it in a way that could be of service and help. But I knew that did matter to me. I just didn't know how to package it.
Mhm.
And in a talk, it was an ethics class for the nursing college at St. Joe's.
Oh,
At
okay.
the time, I think both of my parents had just been diagnosed with cancer. We were a little in over our heads. We didn't know what we know now about communication and rest and hydration and all the things that help you with the long game. And so I sat at the table and I told my story, and we did a few activities, and like 5 different people asked me why I wasn't a nun, or if I should be a nun, or if I felt called, or if because of Mother Marianne, that meant that that was what I should be doing. And I was so overwhelmed not knowing how to phrase it because I didn't want to offend anyone.
Mhm.
And I just didn't know how to say it, but I knew I didn't feel the same calling to enter in that way. And like all of this is happening in kind of a nanosecond. And
Mhm.
Sister Roseanne put her arm in front of me, kind of like the soccer mom arm save.
Mhm.
And she said to the group, Kate is supposed to just be Kate. And I just remember like such incredible relief.
Yeah.
And then talking to Sister Roseanne about what that meant to me, the validation of I am who I am and I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Mhm.
Just in that one breath, I was like, oh, okay, like this is what I'm going to do. This is going to shape who I am. And then getting to know you and having these very similar conversations where if we just show up for one another and balance it and showing up for ourselves, that's enough. And the doors will keep opening to give us more opportunity to build relationships and community. So I'm so grateful to have Roseanne as a mentor, but then also that she brought you and I into each other's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a model for Mother Mary Ann. She was a connector of people at a time, like you said, when we really were trying not to put people together because of infection protocols and things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What
Yeah.
goes around comes around.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you had called me to ask me if I would be willing to do this little conversation with you, I remember saying yes, and then I put the phone down and I thought, God, Rose, you better be with me because this is a big thing for me, anyways.
Oh,
And I prayed to her and said, you better be watching over me today. And yeah, and I miss her so much.
I
Really,
know. Me too.
yeah.
Me
We just
too.
had this wonderful relationship that when you live with somebody well, it was about 13 years. No, it was longer
Mhm.
than that, 15 maybe. Um, you can finish each other's sentences, even,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
But Rose also, you mentioned about the nursing ethics class,
Mhm.
but she would tell me about the people like in housekeeping and not just the nursing. There's all these other people that she connected with, people in technology,
Mhm.
in finance, in all the gamut of the hospital, not just the nursing staff,
Right.
which is a
Right.
good part, but everybody has to do their part to
Oh,
make
yeah. And I mean, just walking down a hallway with her, and she
Mm-hmm.
would know everyone's name and
Yeah.
some like random fun fact about their life, whether they were
Mhm.
taking a test or had an appointment or waiting for a baby to be born. She just, that was inherently who she was. But
Mhm.
and it really, I feel like, have you ever seen the film The Music Man?
Oh yeah.
When like Harold Hill comes into town, and obviously he's more like snake oil salesman, but sort of the way she would carry herself through the hall just evoked that attention. People would come to her because they
Yeah.
know that she would just be there,
Mhm.
and sometimes it would be with words, sometimes with action, sometimes just her presence. And I do think she was inspired by Mother Mary Ann in that way, but I also think that was a unique Roseanne quality.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So um we've talked a lot about different degrees of inspiration. What is something that really continues, like, is there something you wake up with that is your baseline inspiration or intention for a day?
Kate, I got to be honest with you. The first thing I think of when I wake up is what day it is and because I work at two different sites and I have
Oh,
to think,
right.
where am I going today?
Yeah.
Am I going east or am I going north?
Okay.
And then I kind of think, just God, give me the strength to get through the day.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm going to encounter.
Mm-hmm.
I may be asked to go visit somebody who's dying. I may be asked to um, just talk with somebody on the phone, um, do a group. Um, and, I just love my job.
Yeah.
Ministry. I'd rather call it ministry than a job.
Okay.
And I just asked to get through whatever the day's going to bring. And the day goes by so fast. And before I know it, it's time to wind down
Mm-hmm.
and go to bed to get the strength for the next day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned when we started talking about patients who are dying, and are you dealing with COVID related deaths? Is that something that you have been a part of in terms of providing some support?
I'm dealing, well, I'll give you an example. I went to visit a lady. We did not know she had COVID. And she did
Okay.
and died. But I wouldn't have given that up for anything. I remember praying the rosary with her like the day before it was detected, and thinking, I had a mask on, she didn't, but it was her house, not mine.
Hmm.
And just the connection, it was really moving for me,
Yeah.
you know. But if somebody, if I can't go see somebody, that's why I always check with my supervisor to make sure
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But you don't know today.
Right.
You don't know,
Right.
right?
It is such a moving thing, and it is such a privilege. And just as you were saying that, I didn't forget, but I haven't thought about it in a while, when we had sort of our slumber party with Sister Roseanne when she was at Francis House.
Ah,
And and just again creating a space and creating an environment that was so different than when we would sit on the couch in your living room, or be playing with the dogs, but still have that same sense of relationship and community in this space that Sister Colette always reminds me that it's not where people are dying, it's where they're living. It's just a different part of the
mm,
journey,
right,
you
right.
know? And in such profound sadness and loss that you and I were experiencing with our friend, and certainly, I mean, she was like a sister to you. I know that,
Yeah.
but still to be able to carve out those moments of real joy and laughter and peace. It's
Mhm.
it's all encompassing there.
When she was kind of vacillating going to Francis' house, I mean, she really wanted to go there, and I wanted to take care of her at home,
Mhm.
and I thought, if I take care of her at home, and I could do it, I would be her caregiver, not a friend.
Yeah.
Where she's at Francis' house, you go visit a friend, and I remember my dog Casey, our dog Casey, and I
Yes.
going over there, and Casey going to visit everybody.
Right.
and he would, the nights that I stayed with her before she died,
Mhm.
Casey was there too under the bed.
Right.
And those were special.
Yeah.
Those were special nights, And I know she had on the bulletin board in the room, there was this picture of Saint Mary Ann, and it, matter of fact, I took it.
You heard it here, folks.
I took it off of the bulletin board. Um, and it was such a joyful picture. It was very colorful, and the
Yeah.
Hawaiian flowers and the whole bit. And I remember thinking, I got to keep this.
Yeah.
I got to keep this.
Yeah.
I mean, the thumbtacks prints were on it and everything. It's but
Yeah.
I remember taking that from her room, and it was right kind of opposite where she was, where the
Right.
bed.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking, she looked at this a lot during the day, I bet. You know, maybe praying to Saint Mary Ann.
Yeah. May I ask where you have it? Is it in a prominent place?
Well, not quite yet.
Okay.
I've lived where I live now for a little over 2 years, but I haven't really totally unpacked
Yeah.
everything. I'm sorry to say,
So,
but I just love that picture, and I am going to get it framed.
yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Hmm.
That's great. Yeah. I know you're with Sister Grace Ann and Sister Mead now.
Right.
And do you have animals currently?
2 dogs and 2 fish. The fish
Okay.
are mine. I brought from next. I just moved next door, actually.
Yeah. Right.
But it doesn't really matter if you move from next door or down the street or in another state. You still got to clean that,
Yeah.
empty the house.
Right. Right.
And so I had this aquarium that was my mother's,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kind of took it over. They're not the same fish, but
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying. That would be another miracle. Yeah.
Because my mother died in 2006.
Okay.
And but I knew the dogs because we were neighbors,
Right.
and I just love dogs. I just love them,
Yeah.
and
I know.
and
I named my dog Dolores Van Cartier after Whoopi Goldberg's character in Sister Act because, I am drawing some parallels between our friendship and my life in Sister Act. So yeah. Yeah, I'm all about the dogs. And I think St. Francis has informed that part of my life since I was a tiny person. Yeah. Yeah. So,
yeah.
oh, Linda, this is so fun. I just love having this time with you. Is there anything else the intention of this is to really lead up and celebrate Mother Mary Ann on her feast day, but also the work and the personalities and the gifts that each of you have. Is there anything else you'd like to add that you might want me or someone else to know?
I would just like to say how grateful I am to be in a community that cares, that cares about the sisters, and not that there's not issues. There's always going to be issues. Nothing is perfect, and I
Wait a
realize.
minute, you're not all best friends?
Mm, we're
Sorry.
friendly. How's that?
Okay. Okay.
And I think we all strive every day
There you
to
go.
be kind and listen to each other. Certainly through the pandemic, we've had some border issues, about going and visiting and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, excuse me. Uh, for the most part, I'm grateful for all that I have, and it's just such a wonderful opportunity, experience to have one of our sisters become a saint in the church. It really is. I mean, it's astounding to me, and certainly your presence in all of this is astounding to me because I think you've made this a mission for yourself, a ministry,
Thanks.
and very grateful for all that you do in promoting Saint Mary Ann. And I think we all promote her in our own way. I think there's no one set way you have to do things. And,
Yeah.
Like St. Francis said, if necessary, use words. You don't have to use words. You know, Preach the gospel by what you do.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned St. Mary Ann. You see, sometimes you have to go in the back door.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Fair
You have
enough.
to go in the back door.
Yeah.
Usually leads to the kitchen where most things take place.
Yes.
And just that the whole experience has been wonderful. And there's ups and downs, and I guess you take the ups and be grateful, and you take the downs and learn from them.
Yeah.
You know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I love you, and we will talk again soon.
Okay, let's not wait so long.
Yes. Agreed. I know we'll have to do a cheesecake date when we're allowed to roam around the country more.
That's whenever that's going to be. Who
Right.
knows?
Yeah.
Right. Only God knows that.
Indeed.
Yes. And thank you so much
You bet.
for this opportunity and this time with you.